Well, was that the biggest weekend of Premier League action? Liverpool getting beat 3-0 off Brighton, Everton going down 2-1 at home to bottom of the table Southampton. Arsenal taking a commanding 8-point lead at the top of the table following their North London derby victory over Spurs, and City getting beat the day earlier in the Manchester derby. Loads to talk through, so let's get into it. Yes, guys, we're going to start at the bottom of the table here this week with Everton versus Southampton. Southampton get a 2-1 win against Everton. Southampton, despite the win, do remain bottom of the table. As you can see on screen here, 3 teams now all on 15 points. It's only goal difference that separates them. Southampton, it's going to be a really interesting one. They got a great win midweek against Man City in the Carabao Cup. They've got a brilliant win here, obviously, against relegation candidates Everton. Can they kick on? I want to look at Everton, though. To be honest, guys, this is no surprise to me. I said in the summer, Everton needed to get rid of Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard is not a manager who's going to help you stay up. Now, Everton fans might say he did that last year. He didn't really, did it? You know what I mean? There were 3 worse teams than Everton last season. It wasn't really anything to do with Frank Lampard. He didn't come in and miraculously change anything. Frank Lampard, the way he wants to play football, he likes to get the ball on the ground and play a nice brand of football. That's how he wanted to do it. That's what he did at Derby, and that's what he tried to do at Chelsea. Everton are not in the position right now to play that nice football. And this is what I said in the summer. They should have sacked Frank Lampard because it was a stupid appointment anyway. Appoint a manager who can get Everton away from that danger zone. Everton Football Club are not a team that can afford to get relegated. They're obviously moving into the new stadium. That's being done up right now. They've got these finance situations regarding moving into the new stadium. And any sort of loss of revenue could be absolutely fatal to Everton Football Club. So they need to make sure that they stay in the Premier League. You don't do that with having a manager like Frank Lampard. Everton need to make the call now. It's time for Frank Lampard to leave the football club and to get a new manager in who can get Everton away from that bottom half of the table. And yeah, the brand of football might not be pretty, but is it pretty right now? I don't think it is. So get a new manager in, get away from that relegation zone, and maybe in 2 to 3 years, when Everton have solidified themselves again as a mid-table team, then bring in a manager who can try and help improve the style of football. But right now, Everton are only heading one way, and that, my friends, is to the Championships. 3 wins in 19 games is simply not acceptable. How long does this have to go on for before the management at the top board of Everton do something about Frank Lampard and replace him? You've got Sean Dyche who's available. Is he the man that can keep Everton up? I'm not so sure. I don't know. It's a high-risk strategy, but I do think they'd have a better chance with Sean Dyche over Frank Lampard. Let me know what you think in the comment section below here, guys. Are Everton in serious danger of getting relegated? Do you think Frank Lampard can keep them up, or do you think they need to make a change? Let me know in the comment section below. Next up, guys, we're going to talk about middle of the table. We're looking at Chelsea and Liverpool. Chelsea got a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace, and they've obviously just completed the signing of Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk for a value anywhere, if you read it, 70 to 100 million. There's a load of add-ons in there, so we're not 100% sure exactly what the fee is, but you're looking at 70 to 100 million quid there for Mudryk. That's a pretty bold move, but Bowley is just making bold move after bold move right now. Time will tell as to whether Graham Potter can get these players to gel and try and start moving up that table, but it was a step in the right direction, albeit only a 1-0 win. But I'm pretty sure the fans at Stamford Bridge would have took that regardless. If we look at Liverpool are seriously in trouble right now. That's 2 losses on the bounce. They sat there in 9th. A brilliant win for Brighton, 3-0. And to be honest, guys, I am not shocked one bit that Brighton won. Brighton were the team that was going to win that game. They were always going to win that game. They were in form. Liverpool weren't. And Liverpool had no players. I mean, I do feel a little bit sorry in that sense for Liverpool. You know what I mean? Because if you look at their injury situation, it is horrendous. But this is a making that they've done themselves. They've created this issue themselves, guys, Liverpool. They didn't recruit properly in the summer. They went and spent 100 million on Darwin Núñez, which I think was the incorrect move. Not because Darwin Núñez is shit, because I actually think he's not a bad football player. I think once he starts finding the net, he's going to be prolific. But their midfield, I mean, it's an absolute crime. Whoever is in charge of the transfers at Liverpool, that they didn't sign a midfielder. I know Klopp said he didn't need a midfielder. I cannot believe that he genuinely thought that. I cannot believe that, because anyone who's watched football for any period of time could have looked at Liverpool's midfield and said, it's trash. Fabinho is not the player that he once was. Henderson, the same. Thiago doesn't do anything but passing. He doesn't get you any goals or assists, so he's not going to help you out there. And then who else have you got? You know what I mean? You got your Harvey Elliott's, you've got your Curtis Jones. You know, they needed serious investment into that midfield. Will they go in for Jude Bellingham in the summer? I think they're going to try and get Jude Bellingham in the summer, but whether they actually will get that over the line, because at the moment, they're not getting a Champions League, and Manchester City will probably be in for Jude Bellingham as well. I just think you've got to look at Liverpool and think they've made this issue themselves. They cannot blame anybody else but themselves. And to be honest, Brighton, before the game, I probably should have put some money on a Brighton win. You know, hypothetical, it's easier to say. But I knew they was going to win that match. I knew it because De Zerbi has got Brighton playing in such a good way, and Liverpool had such a horrendous injury crisis that it was only had one result. Now, I didn't think it was going to be as emphatic as a 3-0, to be fair. But, you know, this is what it is. Liverpool, will they do any business in the transfer market? Are they going to dip their toes in for a midfielder? Can they afford one? I seen Klopp biting someone's head off in a press conference about asking about money and will they go in for someone? I don't know. But this is just turning out to be an absolute disaster for Liverpool. Now you look at the table and you go, well, actually, Lewis, Chelsea are below Liverpool, and I know that, but Chelsea, at least they're trying to do something about it. And I know they're spending money left, right, and centre, and it's a bit weird, but at least they're trying. They're trying to improve their situation. I look at Liverpool, and it just appears that they're just almost resigned to this. And that is not what an elite club should be doing. It's very, very interesting. I don't know what's going on at Anfield, man. Maybe, obviously, the owner's wanting to sell. He's not prepared to put any money into the club, but they're in serious, serious trouble. Finally, we turn our attention to the top of the table. It was a massive, massive weekend, both for the title race and the top four. Let's start off with the Manchester derby. Obviously, Manchester City, I think pretty much everyone would agree that first, the equaliser for Manchester United was offside. You know what I mean? Everyone knew it was offside. There's no chance that you can say he didn't interfere with play. Whether or not the rules, say that he's allowed to do that, that goal should not have stood. It was ridiculous that goal stood. You cannot tell me that Ederson was not impeded. From Rashford. He was looking at Rashford when he was hovering over the ball. He's definitely 100% interfered with play there. The goal shouldn't have stood. However, this inconsistent form for Man City continues, and the consistent form for Manchester United also continues. Man United now, they're in serious good form. Look at the form guide there. I mean, it pains me to say it, but Man United right now are in some crazy form. They've won the same amount of games as City. City only drawing one extra game, and look at that form. I mean, when you look at form like that, it's incredible. I always say, momentum is key. Momentum is key if you want to be successful, because momentum carries you through games that you shouldn't win. Man United probably didn't deserve to win that game against Man City at the weekend, but momentum got them through. Momentum carried them through, and City, look at their form. We cannot find any momentum, so hence we're not getting through these games. So it's a massive, massive situation for both teams. United just need to keep on doing what they're doing, and City have got really tricky games coming up against Tottenham, who City really struggled against in recent times. But they just need to try and get a win. You know what I mean? City need to forget about the title right now. Not saying that they've lost it, but they need to forget about it, because right now they just need to focus on winning football matches, going back to basics. That's what City need to do. As for United, are they in a title race? Are they not? I mean, right now you probably have to say yes, they are in a title race. They're 1 point behind City with having played the same amount of games. Is it likely that they're going to win it? I don't know. But with momentum like they have, anything is possible when you have momentum. That's a fact. Let's turn our attention now to the North London derby. This is a very, very interesting one, guys, because despite Arsenal winning 2-0, I actually thought that Tottenham probably deserved to win the game based on chances. Arsenal were the better team. They had more possession. And they just looked like the better team. But based on actual chances, Tottenham, how Tottenham didn't score in that game is unbelievable. Aaron Ramsdale, who I'm a massive fan of, I think he should be England's number one. He made some incredible saves. Son being wasteful. Kane not really doing too much. I thought Kulusevski was a massive problem for Arsenal out on that right-hand side. And I think Tottenham can come away from the game actually feeling a little bit unlucky that they lost the match based on the chances that they had. However, Arsenal, you know what I mean? The momentum just keeps on going. They drop points against Newcastle at home, straight back on there with a win. If they would have lost the game yesterday, or maybe drawn the game, maybe, you know, that momentum starts to take a little bit more of a hit. Maybe doubts start creaking in. But right now, that's not happening. Momentum is carrying Arsenal through these games. And when it will end, well, you don't know. They still have City to play twice. And City will have to beat Arsenal twice if they want to win the league. But right now, this is firmly in Arsenal's hands. Arsenal should go on to win the league from this position, and only a disaster would stop them from winning the league. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Arsenal. They are favourites. I checked with the bookies. This is the first time this season that Arsenal have been favourites. It was City up until this point, but that proves the point that I said at the start of the video. This is the biggest weekend for me in the Premier League so far this season. It's absolutely huge. As for Spurs, they've got issues. Like I say, they did actually create some chances, and I think they can consider themselves quite unlucky that they lost the game based on the chance creation. But ultimately, it wasn't a great performance still. I don't get the impression that this team is happy. I always say this about Spurs under Conte, but I don't see them playing with a smile on the face. They are miserable, man. So they've got an issue. You know, United are getting top four. Newcastle, they're in great form, only lost one game all season. Will they manage to stay in that top four come the end? Obviously, Bruno Guimaraes is injured. How long is he going to be injured for? I'm not 100% sure on that. I just think this weekend's been absolutely phenomenal in terms of Premier League and what it means for the title race and top four and the relegation zone as well. It's been bad weekend for Man City. Bad weekend. I'm just hoping now that we just beat Spurs. I'm not really thinking about the title now. I'm just looking at, can Man City get a win and just focus on getting the 3 points, and then, you know, what'll happen? Maybe we can get a streak to go in. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts, guys. There's loads of stuff to talk about. I mean, we didn't really even speak about some of the stuff. You know, you've obviously got Fulham, who did lose, but they're still sat in 6th. You've got Chelsea. We touched on. They're in 10th. With loads of stuff to talk about that I didn't manage to get round to. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up button on the video if you enjoyed it. It really helps grow the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. See you in a bit.